the Broadcasting Corporation of Oyo State, BCOS. We are still on newspaper review and I still have the Nigerian Tribune with me. The story I'm taking now says a proviso to real-time e-transmission of polling unit results, why majority of legislators may not return in 2027. And that is credited to Igini and 2027 election timetable. Electoral bill top agenda as Senate reps reconvene tomorrow. KDI tackles Senate over removal of 10-year disqualification for vote buying. Then another story says PDP LP missing as INEC releases Osun governorship candidates details. PDP lawmakers adopt Accord Party endorse Adeleke. For more on the story, you can check the Nigerian Tribune. I'm flipping through the inside pages of the newspaper. Nigeria launches ambitious industrial policy to revive factories, drive manufacturing. That one is coming from page 2 of the Nigerian Tribune. An alleged imported toxic chemicals. Ribado replies El Rufai, ask ex-Kaduna governor to supply evidence to DSS. We didn't procure toxic chemicals, he says. The story is taken from page 3 of the Nigerian Tribune. Still reading from the same page, Nigeria Angola signed diplomatic passport visa exemption pact. Another one says Afenifere USA urges Southwest governors, monarchs to tackle rising insecurity and search for Ramadan crescent at sunset on Tuesday. NSCIA urges Muslim. If you're interested, you can check page 3 of the newspaper. And turning to page 4 of the newspaper, Mighty Allah others reject hero allegations. Seek a Senate intervention over U.S. bill. Allegations is plot to destabilize Nigeria, says Gavdan. If you're interested, you can check the Nigerian Tribune. And Concert for Change disburses 55 million naira to charities supporting orphans, children with disabilities. Another one says 1 billion naira Ramadan feeding program takes off in Sokoto. Turning to page 5 of the Nigerian Tribune, relief for retirees as Ogun approves additional pension benefits. Well, that's good news for Ogun pensioners and Fulani. With about 40 million population can't be terrorist. Abdullahi, national president, Gan Ala Fulani. That story is taken from page 5 of the newspaper. And turning to page 6 of the Nigerian Tribune, face of Petro and sets for legal action over $1.5 billion spent on moribund Port Harcourt refinery. And Dangote Salt rewards 50 outstanding customers with trucks, cash gifts, and Nigeria Tax Act 2025 does not impose a 25% tax on building materials. Oyedele debunks Amechi's claim. The story is taken from page 7 of the Nigerian Tribune. We're still flipping through the newspaper for more stories and turning to the editorial page of the newspaper. The death of Abuja music star via snake bites. Where that story is taken. If you want to know the position of the Nigerian Tribune on that on its editorial page, you can turn to the editorial page of the newspaper. Still looking for more stories from the Nigerian Tribune. From the Nigerian Tribune. Well, let's quickly take another break before continuing with the program. Please don't go away.
Cadbury 3-in-1 hot chocolate, the treat you deserve.
You are welcome back on AM120 on the Broadcasting Corporation of Oyo State BCOS. We are still on newspaper review. ADC carpets Tinubu over appearance at fishing festival, claims administration indifference to terror attacks, says Kahama abductions video indicative of lack of capacity. If you're interested in that story, you can turn to page 23 of the Nigerian Tribune. And Ashin meets Governor Bala Mohammed, rallies FCT candidates to deepen PDP unity ahead of election. And 9 Benue worshippers released as police apprehend 4 suspects. Well, from page 26 of the newspaper comes this one. Driver stabs Latsman officer in Lagos, and Ondo Amatekun arrests 95 suspects in major security crackdown. Another one says 5 billion naira properties destroyed in Kano Singa market fire. 7 missing. Tinubu orders investigation. Those stories are taken from page 26 of the newspaper. And quickly to some sports stories from the sports page of the Nigerian Tribune. NLNG emerges overall champion at 20th Nigerian Oil and Gas Industry Games. The story is taken from the sports page of the Nigerian Tribune, and real lucky to have Alexander Arnold, says Abelua. That's another one, still from the Nigerian Tribune. And Ajibade targets first trophy with PSG. The story is also taken from the sports page of the Nigerian Tribune. With those stories, we wrap it up on the review of the newspapers available here this morning. We'll quickly take a break right now before continuing with the program. Please don't go away.
All right, welcome back. It's still AM120 on the Broadcasting Corporation of Oyo State. And this morning, in our interview segment, we'll be discussing what we call 2027 polls, INEC timetable, as well as the budget. Those are things we're going to be looking at this morning. And our first guest is in the studio with us to do justice to the conversation. And he is Honorable Fatai Adeshino, a legal practitioner and former member of your State House of Assembly. You're welcome to the program this morning.
Good morning, Mas and sirs, and good morning to the viewers at home.
Okay, I'd like us to begin from the INEC timetable. The INEC chairman, Josh Mopiton, said that the release of timetable and schedule of the election was in line with the provision of the Constitution and the 2022 Electoral Act. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has fixed the 2027 presidential and National Assembly elections for Saturday, 20th February 2027. It also fixed the governorship and the State Assembly election for Saturday, 6th of March 2027. The INEC chairman, Amupiton, announced the timetable and schedule of the election at a press conference in Abuja on Friday. He said the announcement was in line with the provision of the 1999 Constitution and Section 28, subsection 1 of the Electoral Act 2022, which requires the Commission to publish notice of elections not later than 360 days before the appointed date. Let's look at the issue of timetable before we go into the budget much later.
Thank you.
INEC has proposed. Again, I saw in the dailies this morning where the National Assembly is trying to propose 13th of February for the presidential election. Now, let's look at all of this. If we have the election on the 20th, or let me even say that let's look at the timetable. How do you see this timetable following the 360 days as stated by the Electoral Act?
Well, thank you very much. One, the electoral amendment is ongoing, which has reduced it to 180-something days. But before that, we need to be using the one that is in existence because of the fact that elections are subject to litigations. And people are always looking for loopholes because the current Electoral Act of 2022 and the Constitution says it must be a year to that election. Otherwise, if INEC is not doing the needful now, some people will just wait for the election next year. Or maybe if it has a shorter date, to approve the court that the election conducted is a nullity. Because you have to follow it step by step. And thank God, the man at the end of the affair now is a lawyer, is a senior advocate of Nigeria. He knows the implication of not going by the rules and regulations. You know, people are always waiting for loopholes, areas to attack INEC or to attack elections generally. So INEC must be sensitive to that look, what we have at hand now is a year. Let us abide by it. Even though last week, some people are still mentioning that Ramadan, you see, they always want to come up with excuse. And that's why I must always tight his end and be more careful to the provisions of the Constitution.
So are you saying that the release is timely?
It's timely. For now. Though we wouldn't know what happened by the time they approved the new electoral amendment, which is ongoing. If not for the issue of the issue of electronic transmission, that maybe they might have approved that even be more useful for the next election. But the way they are going now, they cannot. They have to stick to the old provisions.
Okay. What about the issues? Sorry, what about the issues being raised by some people? You talked about
Ramadan.
So how do they, put those ones into consideration?
I think Constitution supersedes every other thinking. You just have to abide by what is in the Constitution and Electoral Act. And it says a year before the election, you must announce your timetable. So I think INEC has covered his end with this announcement now.
Okay, so let's look at it. We said 360 days.
Yes.
Why was the National Assembly not proactive enough to ensure that we have this Electoral Act amendment done before the 360 days? One would have thought that, they would have been more proactive in putting all of this together because, the business of lawmaking was the reason why they were elected into office.
You know, lawmaking process amendments, it's not as if it is as easy the way we look at it. Because when you want to amend the Constitution, you want to change a provision, you have to go around all the 6 geopolitical zones, which they've done. It takes time. People will have to collate, who have to hear the views of others before you can come up with it. And I think there was a time they came to Southwest. I was part of the invitation that time. They went to other regions. So you have to go there, present your own views. They need collation. Before they now come back to the house, you understand, to deliberate and see the one they will be able to do. And a lot of provisions they are carrying out. They are talking about creation of states, about elections, about other issues too.
Okay, let's quickly go on this commercial break. Okay. When we come back, we're going to look at the timetable as the date have been fixed for the general election and how this seem to be in line with the electoral. Stay with us. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Some say learning is fun, but as a mom, I see how demanding it can be for my child. That's why I ensure he starts every day with a cup of Bonvita. Bonvita. Prepare them to win every day.
All right, welcome back. It's still AM120. All right, thank you for staying tuned. We've been discussing the 2027 polls, INEC timetable, and the budget. And of course, Honorable Fatai Adesina is here with us. He's a legal practitioner and a former member of the Oyo State House of Assembly. All right, let's go back to the issue of the dates.
Yes.
20th of February, 2027 has been fixed by the Independent National Electoral Commission. Why would you think that the National Assembly is trying to do a request for change of date to 13th of February? Why do you think this, what necessitated this?
Well, I'm not a member of that state or National Assembly. They may have their own reasons why they are coming up with this request. But my own is also advise INEC to please stick to what the Constitution and the provision of Electoral Act 2022 says. Because the fact that if they should change now, and peradventure some people approaching the court, their effort might be in nullity. Because the moment you don't stick to what Constitution states, stipulates, or what the Electoral Act says, there might be problem in future. If they've done their own calculation and discovered that a year is what the provision says, stick to it. Because even the election dates and the arrangement too, it's not going that way with some of us in politics.
Why?
We discovered that one, there's always a bandwagon effect. Especially the one for state assembly, which have been before, and governors. People just vote for a governor and a particular set of assembly members from his party.
It means that the lawmakers, proposed lawmakers, are not doing their bit, because if you have gone to the grassroots to tell your people about yourself and your party, I see no reason why there will be that tsunami every time. It's becoming a trend, and we need to turn
Thank
it
you
around.
very much. When we were in the state assembly between 2015 and 2019, we came in through a court, about 8 of us, 6 from Labour Party. The rest were the ruling party. You can see the robust discussion then. It is not just when you come to the house, everything just goes, or like what we have now. And that's why some of us are suggesting, it was part of our proposal that they should separate or stagger this election. But they are saying cost of conducting election. We not allow that. And that's why you see that most of the state assembly, apology to no one, they become rubber stamp. Because you see the executive, governors now, buy form for them, pay for their electoral expenses. By the time they enter the house, they will not be able to be on the side of the people as expected, or to query certain actions. It's not as if you are quarreling as executive.
I think this particular blame should have gone to the political parties.
How?
And I'll tell you why. For whatever kind of candidate we have in the assembly,
Yes.
it's as a result of the candidate or the person that the political parties have pushed forward.
No.
If you have a more quality candidate, it will reflect, because there are more quality people out there who are aspiring for positions and don't get there because of the kind of monies that are meant to be paid for form. I mean, if you say somebody should get a form of 40 million naira for governorship seat, don't you think that's absurd?
It's atrocious. But my sister, that's not even the real issue. The sympathy of the people is not always with these lawmakers. By the time they come up querying certain decisions, people outside will say, I'm sorry to say Yoruba, whereas they are the representatives of the people in the house.
But that's not the case at all times. It's not the case at all times.
From experience, when we are on the air, I'm bound by what I'm saying here. We're on the air. That's always the situation. A lot of experience we've gained when we're in the house. There are certain things the law says, do this, do this. Section 128, Section 129. Oversight function, extrajudicial functions given to the house. But I'm unable to use it because of the fact that when you want to say, okay, you want to ask questions about what is happening in BCOS, for example, now, people say, they want to create issues.
No, but what stops anyone from asking questions? We've seen lawmakers performing their oversight functions.
Not in the real sense of it.
Why? It means that they are not representing the people.
They are representing you people, but the power that be, there is excessiveness on the part of executive
because the
over
lawmakers
the other organs
chose,
of government.
No, because the lawmakers chose to be a rubber stamp. It's their choice.
Because we need understanding even from the public that look, when the house is trying to do its job, they are not fighting the executive. They are trying to put things right. Because if you look at Section 4, 5, and 6, the duty of the National Constitution as amended, the duties of each levels of government have been outlined. You understand? There was a time in this state we were having acting Auditor General. It was the house that raised it. That look, if you put somebody in acting capacity for almost 6 months, there will be fair for him to do the job because he's still acting. And thank God the government of that time listened to Vice Council. They were able to confirm the Auditor General. You understand? Because the Constitution says Auditor General must not be in acting capacity for more than so period. So these are the issues. We need the sympathy of the public to understand that, look, the 3 organs of government, they are to act as checks and balances on each other. If they want to appoint a speaker now, by 2027, you see the executive meddling into the affairs.
But are you saying that it is not possible for us to have an independent assembly? Is that what you're saying?
Maybe as this.
I don't agree to put the blame on the executive.
Okay, you see.
Because, I mean, the day you chose to pick up the form to represent the people of your constituency, then you know that you're going there to represent the people, irrespective of whoever is at the arms of affairs. Nobody is saying go there to fight the executive.
Sister, that is in theory. The reality of it is that when you get into that house, there's a way of limiting your power, which will start even from the appointment of the speaker. You understand? That is the reality.
You are saying that your powers are limited?
Very, very limited by the executive. I'm saying it on here.
Well,
I'm trying to be corrected.
Sometimes you accuse the executive as well as the public. Why do you shift blames? I mean,
why we are shifting blame is that we need the understanding of the public. Shall you understand? Look at what happened in Lagos, for instance. They want to manage their affairs on their own. For 59 days, there was trouble here and there. When the Oracle speaks, everybody they have to reverse that decision. Whereas in the Constitution, the House has the power to elect their own speaker. You can have one in the morning, and in the evening you change it if it's not doing your bits. You understand what I'm saying now? But what happened? The woman had to turn to a politician, a musician, when she was removed. They had to return Obasa over them against most of the wishes of those people. So these are the issues we need to look into. So when I saw the time, I said, same story. Except where we have instances where people are ready to come out to vote the candidate of their interests.
Now let's look at it. Does this
you see the ruling party trying to get the majority? Look at what is happening in the National Assembly now.
Well, it was their choice. It was their choice to leave their party and go to the ruling party.
That's what I'm saying.
And if they didn't go to the ruling party, they would have gone to other political parties. So one would wonder why politicians are the same.
They are not.
No, they are. Okay, let me say most politicians are the same, not all.
Yes.
I beg your pardon to say that. Yes. Because the reason why I'm saying this is simply because if your party is having a challenge, a major challenge, and it's unresolvable, must you all move to the ruling party? Why not look at other, smaller parties? If you are credible in your constituency, nothing stops the people from bringing you back on board.
And that's why we are saying that separate this election.
But
let everybody bear his father's name. You understand? Money. That is another issue. But for us to have what we call a free and fair election, not the type of bandwagon that we have now. And because of the bandwagon, everybody wants to move to the ruling party. That's the issue. You understand? That's the issue. Because they know that a party that has a president, it's likely that people, once they get to the polling units, they just put it, they leave.
It's part of voter education.
It's part of it, but we can help these people by saying, okay, take this election on so date. The next one, you will see that independent candidates, even people from unknown party, can even fly.
So why do you think it's difficult for us to do that?
You've mentioned one part of it. Finance is one of it. Because by the time you want to obtain form now, even if you are good in your community, they say, Pastor, you are the best in your community. By the time pastor is not having enough cash.
But why is that so? Why is it so?
Money?
Yes. Why is the political parties placing
part of the function of money is to control. If they don't put price tag, everybody will come up. It will become a jamboree.
As high as
no, that's another argument that we should reduce it. You understand? Even there are parties, according to my sister, that don't even charge as much. When we wanted to contest under Accord that time, I think form was 350. Whereas there are some parties that are charging 2 million.
So who can solve the political party's problem? Who can bail the cat?
All of us.
How does it concern me and all of us?
It concerns in the fact that there should be political awareness. If you look at US now, the best bet are coming out, the best men are coming out to politics. Yeah, it's not so. It is when we are having difficulties in town now that people are now saying, we must look into this. There's political party before. Who tell you, when I was coming from the banking sector, people were like, not knowing that a policy can change the whole situation of a country.
Okay.
A single policy.
Now, don't you think that we need to do political party reforms? Each political party doing an overall.
I quite agree with you.
And looking at politics in a way that it will favor an ordinary Nigerian. Where I can sleep this night and wake up tomorrow morning to say, look, I want to lead my people.
Yes.
I want to go into politics.
I quite
But
agree
with the
with you.
current situation, it will be very hard for me to even have a dream
What's happening
that
to
looks
this
like
situation?
it, and I wake up and think it's going to happen. Because if the form, like I keep saying, costs 20 million naira, and I look at it that 20 million naira, I can help assist about 100 children to start from primary school to tertiary level, their schooling, then why will I want to waste money?
You're not wasting money.
It is a waste of
Though I
money.
will advocate that money should come down a little bit.
Who's going to do it?
All of us.
All of us can do it because we are not all. It was a
For
certain
example,
group of
now
people
if you
that
set
did
up
this.
an NGO now, which aim is to seek for the reduction in money being paid, one day somebody will listen to you.
So how much do you think
One
it should be reduced to?
Reasonably, if it is reduced to like 5 million, 2 million, 3 million, or even parties should not even charge at all for us to have inclusive participation. People that will have interest will have interest. But you see, the issue is that in those olden days, people will tell you that Baba Lam was not so rich and he became governor because of the policy and system.
No, he was not
That's-
rich at all.
I know. I can't
Can
say
we
he
have
was
the
not
same
rich.
era again?
Eh?
Can we have the same era?
If we have inclusive participation, if all of you are showing interest, if you understand, if people are making noise on a daily basis, that look, the money being charged is much.
Okay, let's quickly pay some bills. We need to pay some bills, go on a commercial break. And when we come back, of course, we're going to be looking at the other part, the budgetary allocation for the 2027 general election. Stay with us. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Alright everyone, no put your ears, make we talk. Time don't reach to rearrange the sounds to give una small wisdom. Sounds mighty fresh now, but you know own, I beg no be so. Before una go talk, say our smell no reach. Make una think I'm twice so. Ever heard of Colgate, the #1 oil care brand in the world?
Colgate Maximum Cavity Protection unlocks 24 hours cavity defense. The formula boost with calcium for lifelong smiles.
Mom, it's a time to brush. No more cover mouth. Because Colgate, that's who do yaga with your smile.
Colgate for 24 hours maximum cavity protection.
Welcome back, AM120 on the Broadcasting Corporation of Oyo State. INEC proposes 873.78 billion naira for 2027 polls, 171 billion naira for 2026 operations. Of course, the Independent National Electoral Commission told the National Assembly that it requires 873.78 billion naira to conduct the 2027 general election, even as it seeks 171 billion to fund its operations in 2026 fiscal year. INEC Chairman Professor Josh Amupito made the disclosure while presenting the Commission's 2026 budget proposal and projected costs for the 2027 general election before the National Assembly Joint Committee on Electoral Matters in Abuja. According to Amupito, the 873.78 billion naira election budget covers the full conduct of the national polls in 2027, and additional 171 billion naira is needed to support INEC's routine activities in 2026, including by-elections and off-season elections. The senior advocate of Nigeria said the proposed election budget does not include a fresh request from the National Youth Service Corps seeking increased allowance for corps members engaged as ad hoc staff during election. He explained that although the details of the specific line item were not exhaustively presented, the almost 1 trillion naira election budget is structured across 5 major components. 379.75 billion is for operational cost, 92.32 billion naira for administrative costs, 209.21 billion naira for technological cost, 154.91 billion naira for electoral capital cost, and 42.61 billion naira for miscellaneous expenses, Mopito said. Now let's look at this budget or this electoral cost allocation. Don't you think this is outrageous as a nation? If we're spending so much and we come back to say the election was not free, fair, and credible, don't you think that we're always, every 4 years, wasting resources, time, and energy?
Well, if we compare this budget to what was the budget in 2023, we cannot even, the percentage is just outrageous, like you said. In 2023, it was 313 billion. Now, 883 billion. But when you look at the components, you discover that the economy is not static. Salary in 2023 is not the same salary now. If you look at the component one, given the fact that election is coming during this cycle of the budget, one would say that it's still reasonable. But budget in itself is an expression of what we intend to spend. It's not cast in stone that this 883 billion should be approved for INEC. There must still be some issues. But you discover that even those participating in the election, the stakeholders too, like NYC now, they're asking for increase. What is being paid to coppers? I think to 125,000 per copper now. Because they use coppers as electoral officials at the polling unit and also have. But the major question I want to challenge INEC to do is that when are they going to have their own network? You see most of the banks now around, they have their network. A branch of a bank is transacting in Kano. You can move from Kano, come to Ibadan to transact business and use that same network of the bank. You understand what I'm saying now?
No.
Okay. I'm sorry to mention name now. For example, if you want to transact...
You can use your name as the name of a bank.
As a bank. If I have a bank now, shall you understand, ABZ Bank, and I'm established, even all over Africa now, there's a particular bank that has its network
Across Africa.
Across Africa. That even if you come to, if you go to Kano now, I want to run my account, open in Ibadan here, you just enter, run your account. So we are waiting for a time when INEC will have a network of all their maybe polling units, all their ward
Online
levels,
digital?
online digital.
Oh.
So that all the issue that, okay, snap at the polling unit, it will go to the area portal, glitches and all those stuff will be a thing of the past. You understand? The INEC can be connected. Banks are connected now.
Are you saying that INEC is not connected right now?
Right now, they will tell you that people are trying to enter, to hack into their system.
Just like any other system.
Like another system. But we want a situation whereby INEC will be online every time, like she suggested now. That's the right word. So that when you conduct an election at a particular place, it's either there will be some IT expert that will just type the results, agreed by the party agent, it will go into their server straight. Before you know it, under a day, results will be out. You understand? Like what they want to do now, they want to combine both electronic and manual. People start thinking otherwise. So let's say before the next election, 2031, God save our life, let's see INEC on global.
Okay.
That is one.
Now, what do you think is delaying us from going digital in our electoral process? What do you think is responsible?
You know, the cost is what they always allude to, that this cost is like this cost, the financial implication.
Yet we are
Literally,
spending close to 1 trillion naira.
Yes. So if INEC could be advised, it's just a suggestion from me, an opinion, that why don't you connect either your polling unit, your local government office, everything should be online.
But you are complaining that the money is outrageous, but at the same time...
The one that we have now, 800 and something billion. They're breaking it down that operation cost is there, wages and salaries is inclusive, election cost is there. She understand, if you go through that...
The issue of connection, if they now add it to to the budget right now, will it not
You don't need to wait for the election cycle. Next election now is 2031. If they were putting it in the next 3 years budget prior to election, They can digitalize.
Okay.
You understand?
Now-
We can even be voting from our own phone.
Now, that's what most Nigerians have been saying. But let's look at what we have as breakdown of cost.
Yes.
209.21 billion naira for technological costs. And that's technology.
Okay.
So the question is, what kind of technology are we talking about?
They should be able to break it down.
Are we still going to get more beavers or expand our IREF?
IREF.
Because if we are spending this much, then it should have been considered that, because you recall that when we started using permanent voters card, it was a process.
Yes.
They started getting what's it called, the machine to access it gradually. It was done in phases. And so one would have thought that maybe this cost should have included purchasing of those technological items in bits, and then we get to a point maybe before the 2031 you're talking about would have gotten more.
That's the advice.
So, but I think what we should, what people like you, politicians, should call for more is the breakdown of what this cost is going to be doing.
That
for
is
us.
the duty of the National Assembly, whom they are presenting the budget to. This is the question they should be raising, that, look, when are we going to go fully digital? You understand? But the human interest, human element is always key. Because people will tell you that, I won't be like Jonathan, that appointed his enemy as chairman, INEC. I would not want to introduce things that will affect my electoral chances.
So there's no political will to do so? No political will to do so?
Maybe. If there is political will, we are constructing a Calabar to Lagos town. That's the political will. Even though with a lot of resistance from other people. So you can ask INEC to go fully digital. That look, enough of all these people going to queue and all those stuff. Let them be able to vote inside their room through their phone.
Okay, so let's look at some of the challenges that INEC face.
Yes.
Do you think that there are saboteurs in that agency of government making some of these things not doable? I've come across one of the top, leaders in some government agencies who will say, look, when I was planning this and I shared with my staff, and they said, okay, it's doable, that when the thing became successful, they told him point blank that when you were saying it, we didn't believe it could happen.
Yes.
But we just said, okay, let's watch you do it. We know you were going to fail. And unfortunately, the man succeeded. Now, these are some of the challenges that faces our system. Now, and one of it is sabotaging the effort of leaders, even when they have the political will. How can we curb these saboteurs from always carrying out, their plans and, ensuring that they succeed, dragging us behind as a nation?
Pastor has just given us a clue now. You must have political will, and that inner will to do certain things. If you
No, where he even has political will, and there are saboteurs. Look at the last was it JAMB exam? The leader had a political will.
Yes.
But he was sabotaged. The system was sabotaged.
It is because we are not following the rule of law to the letter. People will tell you, but we have two laws.
What do you mean by that?
What I mean is that laws should be on of everybody. For example, now, if you discover a staff sabotaging your effort, the thing is querying. After query, maybe you suspend him. After suspension, you take it to the normal. There are handbooks in every establishment, but we don't follow it. Before you know now, people will be calling from here, different calls, that whereas in a senior environment, they follow the law strictly. If you are to be jailed, they jail you. Look at what is happening in Kogi now. Somebody stole almost 25 billion or more. He's going to Lesser Hajj. His pastor is being released. Is that law? You know what I'm saying now? There is nowhere you don't have sabotage. Even banks that we are referring to, individuals who hack into their system, take away billions. Once they are caught, they apply the law. So let's start applying the law now. You understand? But you see, the way we manage our laws, our system here, and others are watching you. There was a time I had fear of driving to Lagos because they said they would do medical tests for you, whether you are normal or not, which cost about 25,000 that time. So if I'm going to Lagos, I just park my car, look for somewhere that knows Lagos very well. So it's natural for us to apply law in all our system. So INEC should fall back on that. Look at JAMB. How many people were arrested? Were they tried? What happened? And that's why we go on media trial. They will make noise, you'll be happy. The thing will be dying gradually. Before you know it, you will not hear anything again. So let's INEC too apply the law. If anybody should be
let's
sabotaging
look at
themselves.
other logistical problems facing INEC. What are the other problems that
They will be telling you one financial. They are always mentioning finance. You understand? It's one of the problems because this budget, did around something billion. I doubt if they will release all the money to them. The lawmakers are saying that they should release.
Should all the money be released?
That is what Oshiomhole is suggesting, that they should
What
release all
about
the
you?
money.
What's your own
They should
suggestion?
not, for proper accountability.
So how much should be released to them?
They can give them like 700 billion
Out of 800
out of it or something.
Without
They are saying that is not even enough. That's where I'm coming from. That 800 billion is not enough. That they will need that NYC just bring in their request now. That Corpus Alawi should be, that will work with INEC should be moved up, which I will gladly support because of the inherent risk this Corpus face in volatile areas when they are conducting elections. Don't forget the fact that some of them were killed in Bauchi.
But you are not considering any issue before saying that it should be reduced.
No. For example, now, my sister mentioned that technological facilities was part of it. Which one? They should break it down now. They should come up and tell us. Is it beavers? They are purchasing more. Don't they have the one they use in 2023? Is it not functioning again? They should be more explicit. They can't just come to you and say they want 20 billion and you pack all the 20 billion and give to them. No.
All right.
I disagree with that. It should be reviewed thoroughly.
Okay. All right. Our time is fast spent.
Thank you very much.
We must appreciate you, Honorable Fatai Adeshino,
Ritual.
who is a legal practitioner and former member of the Your State House of Assembly. On behalf of our crew members, producers, we want to thank you for joining us on the program this morning and for coming early. Thank you very much. All right, of course, we'll go on a break. And when we come back, our second guest is waiting to join us. Stay with us. Don't go away. It's still AM120.
Milo 3-in-1 Milky and Creamy is truly milky and contains calcium. So, no need to add milk for that rich, creamy cup, which helps to nourish your kids.
Well, you are welcome back on AM120 on the Broadcasting Corporation of Oyo State BCOS. The topic of the moment is a 2027 polls, INEC timetable, as well as budget. And we have another guest in the studio this morning, and I'm talking about a public affairs analyst. He is Mr. Bright Richard. Mr. Richard, you are welcome onto the program.
Good morning to you.
Thank you for joining us.
Now let's quickly look at the INEC timetable. What's your opinion? What's your reaction when you saw the timetable?
Well, first of all, I wasn't really surprised because INEC is actually doing their duty. But when some controversies started coming up, so one have to look at it from different perspectives. Number one, INEC prepared that timetable with the old law. You know, there's a reform, there's an electoral reform ongoing. And based on the old law, that was what INEC used in coming up with the timetable. Then also there's a religious observation that the time for the presidential and the National Assembly election is likely going to clash with that of Ramadan. And also, these are some of the considerations. But basically, because of the old law, so there's need, if the House of Assembly are able to come up with the INEC, the electoral reforms, and it doesn't tally with this timetable, it becomes an issue. So that's why the House is coming up with an emergency meeting and to see how they can harmonize their position. So far, from political side, a lot of person wants to bring political interpretation to that. INEC is only performing its duty.
Well, Mr. Richard, I have to cut in right now. We want to pay some bills. We want to take some commercial. Please don't go away as we take this commercial break. You are still on AM120. The topic of discussion this morning is 2027 polls, INEC timetable, budget, and we still have Mr. Bright Richard in the studio. He's a public affairs analyst. You are giving some explanation as well as you talking about the old laws that INEC used to prepare the timetable. Who is to blame?
Yeah, I think the House of Assembly should be blamed because we don't have the luxury of time because there's a limiting factor. INEC as an institution does not have the luxury of time. So maybe INEC had to come up with that initiative to call the attention of the House that look, if you don't do the needful, we will do the needful, so that at the end of the day, nobody will be at fault. So if the new law is to be implemented before the election, then something needs to be done within the next few days, which they have. So INEC took the initiative. I think that was what even drew the attention of the House, because the House have been running after transmission of results, transfer of results, and that have been the bone of contention. But there are other issues as election timetable, the day they are to conduct the election. Remember, there was a time they were also proposing that the presidential and the governorship election should be conducted 6 months before swearing. So these are things that need to be captured. So if the law states that, definitely INEC need to shift the date forward or backward. So that's one of the main bone of contention. But after they are sitting, let's see what the new law is going to take.
Okay, let's look at so far the new INEC chairman spent a few days in office. With some of the trends you've seen, how do you assess his personality and his ability to drive the Independent National Electoral Commission?
Well, it's still too early to judge because the major election is...
We're not judging, we're assessing.
Okay, the major election is going to take him to a test corner to assess him, because off-cycle election too is not still enough, because I think he has conducted 1 or 2 off-cycle election. I think the Anambra election, I think with one other state, and those elections are just like a walkover, because the Anambra election, there was no major opposition to that election, and with that, every machineries can be put to test, and it will actually work out. The IRF, they used it, and the like. But the major election, where you have a lot of major stakeholders and interests, is going to test his loyalty, whether it's to Nigerians or his loyalty is to some specific individual. If you look at the back and front as to transmission and transfer, you discover that INEC have been silent, even though the previous leadership have actually assured Nigerians that they are ready and they are capable of deploying technology into this election. And also that could actually be captured from their budget, because I think INEC is proposing about 209 billion for technology for this election.
Yes.
So that alone would let you know that silently they've told Nigerians that they have the capacity and they are ready for it.
Now, where do we put the space if we're working on you spending 209 billion naira on technology? Then how do we plan to get the internet working for transmission of results in real time? How?